Hi, I'm Liam, 32, and apparently, I managed to nuke 2 corporate careers, a luxury sedan, and a 3-year relationship with nothing more than a $50 Starbucks gift card. But I swear, it started as a joke I didn't laugh at. Amelia, my girlfriend at the time, used to be grounded. Ambitious, witty, a little too obsessed with oat milk lattes, but still the woman I thought I'd marry. We'd been together 3 years, living in my condo for the last one. I thought we were stable. We had our routines, Thursday sushi nights, weekend hikes, arguing over documentaries versus Marvel movies. Boring, safe, reliable. Then she got promoted. She went from being Amelia who does social media to Amelia, junior marketing manager at a Fortune 500 insurance giant. The kind of place with glass elevators and motivational posters that say things like integrity, innovation, insurance. She loved it. I did too, until Gregory entered the picture. At first, he was just a name that popped up in stories. Gregory said my presentation was brilliant. Gregory wants me to join the new campaign. Gregory took us all out for drinks. Normal boss stuff. But then it became constant. The way she said his name changed, longer vowels, lighter tone. It wasn't Gregory. It was Grigory now. Still, I played it cool. I'm not the jealous type. My entire career is built on rational analysis. I work in risk assessment. My brain is wired to measure exposure and probability. But it took me months to realize the biggest blind spot in my life was sitting across the dinner table, smiling at her phone. The work husband joke started a few months later. Gregory's my work husband, she said one morning, sipping coffee. I laughed, because that's what you do when someone says something mildly inappropriate, and you don't want to start a fight before 8 a.m. But it didn't stop there. Gregory brought me a latte. My work husband knows my order. Gregory and I finish each other's sentences. It's freaky. Gregory said I'm the most creative person he's ever managed. That one made my jaw clench. Finally, one night at dinner, she scrolled through her phone, smiling at messages, and said, without even looking up, "You know, my work husband's been buying me lunch every day. You really need to step up." She laughed. I didn't. Because in that moment, something inside me shifted from confused to crystal clear. I remember putting down my fork, staring at her, and saying, quietly, "You're right." She looked up, surprised. "What?" "You're right. I should thank him." "Liam, don't be weird," she said, rolling her eyes. No. He's taking care of you. It's only polite." She smirked, thinking I was joking again. But I wasn't smiling anymore. That night, while she slept next to me, I lay awake in the dark, staring at the ceiling, thinking like the analyst I am. Inputs. Variables. Probabilities. If your girlfriend is calling another man her work husband, laughs at your discomfort, and hides her phone during dinner, what's the likelihood she's emotionally, or physically, cheating? I'd say around 98%. So I decided to test the theory, not with a fight, not with snooping, but with data. The kind of data HR departments take very seriously. The next morning, while Amelia was still asleep, I started digging. Not through her phone, through policy. Because if Gregory was her boss, there had to be a rule. Every big company has one: no relationships between managers and direct reports. It's corporate sin number 3, right after insider trading and microwaving fish in the break room. Sure enough, a quick Google search for her company's code of conduct turned up an 80-page PDF. I scrolled until I hit gold. Any personal or romantic relationship between a manager and a subordinate constitutes a conflict of interest and is strictly prohibited. Even the appearance of such a relationship may result in disciplinary action, including termination. And below that, managers are prohibited from giving or receiving excessive gifts, benefits, or preferential treatment to employees they supervise. Perfect. Amelia's words from last night echoed in my head. My work husband is buying me lunch every day. Every day. That was all I needed. I pulled up LinkedIn, found Gregory's full name, and a 10-minute internet deep dive gave me everything else: his title, his corporate email, his wife's Facebook full of family lake photos, and the address of his company's downtown office. Then I made my move. I ordered a simple, professional thank you card. Cream cardstock. Gold edges. Blank inside. And a $50 Starbucks gift card to tuck neatly inside. When it arrived, I sat at my kitchen counter and wrote in my neatest handwriting. Dear Mr. Stilton, I just wanted to thank you for all the kindness and generosity you've shown Amelia. She tells me how often you've treated her to lunch and supported her career. It means a lot knowing she has such a thoughtful manager looking out for her. All the best. Liam Forrester. Amelia's very grateful boyfriend. I sealed it, addressed it to his corporate office, and sent it first class. No return address. No drama. Just politeness sharpened into a weapon. Over the next few days, I didn't say a word. I kissed Amelia goodbye in the mornings. We ate dinner together. She smiled at her phone as usual. Business as usual. By Thursday night, she was still chirping about how Gregory's taking me to lunch again tomorrow. Perfect timing. Friday. 2:32 p.m. I was at my desk reviewing a claims report when my phone buzzed. Amelia, call me. Right now. Then again. Liam, what did you do? Another one. Gregory's in a meeting with HR. They have your card. They called me in next. What did you do? I put my phone face down. Took a sip of coffee. Continued reading my spreadsheet. At 5 o'clock, I packed up and drove home listening to a podcast about financial fraud. The irony wasn't lost on me. When I got home, her car was parked at an angle, halfway over the curb. She was pacing the living room, still in her blazer, hair frizzed from stress. What? Did you? Dio. She screamed the second I walked in. Hi, babe, I said calmly. Rough day? Don't rough day me, she shouted, tears and mascara fighting for territory. I got called into HR. They had your card, Liam. The thank you card with the gift card. They said it violates company policy. They think something's going on between me and Gregory. I tilted my head. Is there? She froze. What? No. Of course not. How could you even? I cut her off, voice still calm. Because you called him your work husband. Because he buys you lunch every day. Because you laughed in my face about it. And now I guess HR thinks that's a little strange too. Her face drained of color. You did this on purpose, she whispered. I smiled slightly. I just sent a polite thank you note. For all his generosity. She just stared at me, mouth open, mascara running, the gears in her head finally grinding through the realization that this wasn't some prank gone wrong. She'd built the gun. I just pulled the trigger. You're trying to ruin me, she hissed. I took off my jacket, hung it on the chair, and said quietly, No, Amelia. You did that yourself. I just turned on the light. She started pacing. Do you have any idea what you've done? They're investigating. They said it's a conflict of interest. They think Gregory's been buying me favors. They even mentioned the lunches. I raised an eyebrow. You mean the ones you bragged about? She glared at me, voice shaking. You can't just send things like that to people's offices. That's insane. You made me look. Honest? I interrupted. That stopped her cold. Because that's what it was, right? Honest. You were honest when you told me your boss was your work husband. Honest when you said he buys you lunch every day. Honest when you mocked me for not stepping up. I just assumed HR appreciated honesty, too. She let out this half-sob, half-laugh noise. You're sick, Liam. You're sabotaging my career over a joke. I leaned against the counter. A joke doesn't end with you getting pulled into HR. For a second, she went still. Then, the panic started to bleed through the anger. Liam, please, she said, voice softening, switching tactics. You have to fix this. You can tell them you overreacted. You were just being protective. Protective? I asked, almost amused. Yes, she said, stepping closer. You were just trying to be supportive, but you didn't understand office culture. Please. Gregory's wife already found out. HR's talking about putting him on leave. They're suspending me. If you just tell them. I cut her off again, calm as ever. No. What do you mean, no? I'm not lying for you, I said. I'm not calling HR to tell them their policies don't matter because you got too comfortable playing house with your boss. Whatever happens next, that's not my problem anymore. Her voice cracked. You can't do this to me, Liam. I sighed. I didn't do anything. I sent a thank you card. She broke then. Screaming, crying, the whole meltdown. Words like monster, psycho, controlling came flying out. I just stood there, letting her burn through it like a dying storm. When she finally ran out of air, I spoke softly. You said I needed to step up. So I did. Then I walked to the hall closet, pulled out her spare suitcase, and dropped it on the couch. What is that? She asked. Your weekend project, I said. You're suspended, right? Perfect time to pack. I want you out tonight. You can't be serious. I'm deadly serious. Her face crumpled. Liam, I have nowhere to go. I gave her a small smile. Maybe Gregory has a spare room. Assuming his wife hasn't already changed the locks. She lunged for her phone. You're going to regret this. I already regret the last 3 years. I said, grabbing my keys. You've got 1 hour before I get back. If you're still here, I'll have the police help you move out. Then I walked out the door, calm, deliberate, like a man leaving a building that was already on fire. The silence after she left was the kind that hums, the kind you only notice when chaos finally stops. When I came back an hour later, her car was gone, her closet half empty, and a note sat on the kitchen counter. You're a pathetic little man. I hope you enjoy being alone. I smiled, crumpled it, and tossed it in the trash. Peace had a price tag, and I just paid it in full. 2 days later, my phone rang with a number I didn't recognize. I answered because apparently I hadn't yet learned that bad news never uses caller ID. Is this Liam Forrester? Speaking. This is Arthur Vance. The voice boomed, the kind of tone that belonged to country clubs and overpriced cigars. Amelia's father. I think you and I need to have a little talk. Fantastic. The cavalry. He didn't even let me respond. You've made a terrible mistake. You've jeopardized my daughter's career because you couldn't handle her success. You're going to fix this. Fix it how, exactly? I asked, leaning back in my chair. You're going to call her HR department and tell them you're unstable. That you misunderstood a harmless professional relationship. You'll clear her name immediately. Do I make myself clear? I actually laughed. Mr. Vance, your daughter was sleeping with her boss. If a thank you card can destroy her career, maybe her career wasn't built on much to begin with. You arrogant little... He started, but I cut him off. With all due respect, sir, I'm not lying to a corporate legal department to cover your daughter's choices. Have a good night. Click. He called back twice. I blocked him. By Tuesday, I got round 2, the enabler friend. Zara. Her text came in like machine gun fire. You're a monster. Amelia's devastated. She could lose everything because of you. You couldn't stand that she's more successful than you, could you? She can't even make her car payment now. She's going to be homeless. I stared at that last message for a long moment, then felt a cold, sinking realization. Her car. That shiny silver luxury sedan sitting in her old parking spot. The one I'd co-signed because her credit was trash. The one she was now behind on, that technically had my name on it. I called my buddy Ben, who's a contract lawyer. Ben, I said, how bad is it if my financially reckless ex, who hates me, defaults on a car I co-signed? He groaned. Depends. How attached are you to your credit score? So we talked options. By the end of the call, I knew what had to be done. This wasn't revenge anymore. This was financial survival. The next morning, I called the leasing company. "Hi," I said, calm as a saint. "I'm the primary on the lease. The co-signer has vacated my residence, is suspended from her job, and has informed me she can't make the next payment. I'd like to arrange a voluntary repossession." They didn't even hesitate. "Understood, sir. Do you have her address?" "Oh, I do," I said. "She's staying with a friend named Zara." 2 hours later, the texts started coming in like a storm. "They're towing my car. Liam, you can't do this. I'm calling the cops. You're stealing from me. How am I supposed to live?" I waited a moment, then replied, "That sounds like a you problem, Amelia. You told me to step up, so I am. I'm stepping up to protect my finances. Maybe your work husband can give you a ride." Then I blocked her. And for the first time in months I laughed. The universe, it turns out, has impeccable comedic timing. 3 days after the car repossession, my phone lit up with a message from a mutual friend, one of the few still on Team Liam. "Dude, you did not hear this from me. But Amelia's HR verdict just dropped." I poured myself a coffee, sat down, and braced for impact. Gregory, demoted. Majorly. Lost his VP title, stock options, and bonuses. Moved to compliance, which everyone knows is corporate Siberia. His wife filed for divorce. Amelia fired. Terminated for cause. HR found their chat logs. Your card was the cherry on top. I didn't even smile. I just stared into my mug for a long time and whispered. All that over a Starbucks gift card. But of course, Amelia wasn't done. People like her never just lose, they rage against the loss. A week later, I received a courier envelope that looked very official, embossed, legal letterhead, the whole 9 yards. Inside, cease and desist/demand for compensation. From Vance, Rothman and Klein, attorneys at law. Representing Ms. Amelia Vance. I scanned the first line and nearly choked on my coffee. They were billing me $50,000. The letter claimed malicious interference with a business relationship and emotional distress due to my unwarranted and harassing communication. Translation: my thank you card was apparently a war crime. I called Ben. He answered mid-laugh. "Please tell me you didn't open with a threat." "Nope," I said, reading the letter aloud. "They're saying I owe her $50,000 for consequences." Ben chuckled like a man reading his favorite comic book. "Liam, this is bully theater. They can't prove intent, and your letter is practically a case study in plausible innocence. You thanked a man for buying your girlfriend lunch. That's it. Their claim is worth less than the paper it's printed on." He paused. "Wanna have some fun?" 2 days later, Ben sent our response, short, sharp, and elegant. Our client, Mr. Forrester, sent one unsolicited thank you card as a good faith gesture. The subsequent termination of your client's employment resulted solely from her own admitted violation of corporate policy. Any further threats of legal action will be met with a motion for sanctions for harassment and abuse of process. We mailed it certified. Silence followed. Not another word from the Vance family firm. Until Saturday morning. Knock at the door. I peeked through the peephole. A police officer. I opened it, heart thumping. "Sir, are you Liam Forrester?" "Yes." "I'm here to supervise a civil standby. A Ms. Amelia Vance is here to retrieve her belongings. She's concerned you won't allow her access." I looked past him and saw her on the sidewalk, flanked by her father. Arthur Vance looked like he was about to sue gravity itself. Amelia smirked like she'd just won an appeal. "Oh, absolutely, officer," I said, smiling. "I'm happy to help." I opened the door wide. "Everything's boxed up right here. Clothes, shoes, books, electronics, all hers. 12 boxes total." The officer glanced at them, nodded. "Perfect. Ma'am, you can collect your things. Her smirk wavered. That's not everything, she said quickly. My grandmother's antique writing desk, it's in his study. It's priceless. He's keeping it. Arthur stepped forward. Officer, that desk is a family heirloom. He's withholding it. I didn't even blink. Ah, the mahogany one from the antique mall? I asked. I have the receipt. Bought it with my credit card last August. $2,200, Main Street Antiques. I showed the email receipt on my phone. The officer read it, looked back at them, and said flatly, "This is a civil dispute, not a theft. Take your boxes and go." Arthur's face went red enough to power a lighthouse. "Do you know who I am?" he barked. "Yes, sir," the officer said. "You're a man who needs to stay on the sidewalk." They loaded the boxes in silence. Before she got into the car, Amelia turned to me, eyes blazing. "You'll regret this for the rest of your life, Liam." I smiled, calm as ever. "I already regret the last 3 years, Amelia. But I'm feeling better about the next few." The officer actually smirked. "Have a good day, sir." Door closed. Lock clicked. And for the first time in a long time, I laughed, loud, honest, and free. It's been months now. The dust has settled, and what's left looks a lot like peace. No late-night calls. No angry lawyers. No entitled father with threats about fixing this. Just silence, the kind that feels earned. The legal letter stopped after Ben's response. Amelia's dad must have realized his big-name firm wasn't going to intimidate a contract lawyer with a spine. The $50,000, damages, demand evaporated like it never existed. I imagined the conversation between father and daughter, the way his voice must have cracked when he realized she'd blown up his reputation too. Because Arthur Vance wasn't angry about her choices. He was angry about the embarrassment. The scandal. The fact that the girl he bragged about at golf clubs was now unemployed, infamous, and back under his roof. As for Amelia and Gregory? I didn't have to dig, word traveled fast. Gregory's demotion stuck, stripped of his title, his bonuses, his authority. He went from senior VP to senior analyst. From corner office to cubicle. From boat weekends to divorce court. His wife took him to the cleaners. Sold the boat, the house, even the golden retriever went with her. He's living in a rental now, a corporate ghost haunting spreadsheets. And Amelia? She spent 6 weeks couchsurfing at Zara's before getting kicked out for emotional toxicity. Translation: she cried, drank wine at noon, and expected Zara to bankroll her like I once did. With the luxury car gone, the job gone, and the enabling friend finally done, she had no choice but to crawl back home to her parents' house. Now, the once up-and-coming, marketing prodigy, is an entry-level admin at a small-town insurance branch, the kind that sells flood policies to retirees. The LinkedIn posts about corporate leadership are gone. Her Instagram turned from rooftop brunches to quotes about rising from your mistakes. Me? I'm good. Better than good, actually. The credit hit from the repossession stung, 90 points down overnight. But it's temporary. Ben's helping me dispute it. I'll recover. It's a small price for peace of mind. I even sold that antique desk for $1,800, used the cash to pay Ben and take a solo trip to the coast. 3 days of ocean air and zero drama. I came back lighter. Clearer. And yeah, I met someone new. Her name's Maya. Landscape architect. Smart, grounded, calm. When I told her the whole saga, she laughed so hard she almost cried. A work husband? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Why would anyone want to be married to someone they see 40 hours a week? It's the kind of humor I'd forgotten existed, the kind that doesn't sting. We're taking it slow. No games. No performative networking. Just two people who like quiet dinners and long walks. Sometimes I think back to that night at the restaurant, Amelia laughing over tacos, telling me to step up. She thought she was holding all the cards. but she built her house of lies on corporate policy and arrogance, and all it took was one polite thank you card to bring the whole thing down. I didn't destroy her life. I just stopped protecting her from the consequences of her own choices. And in the end, that's what real closure looks like. Not revenge, not rage, just peace. Because sometimes, the most devastating thing you can say to someone who betrayed you is nothing at all. Just a quiet, calm thank you. It's been months now. The dust has settled, and what's left looks a lot like peace. No late-night calls. No angry lawyers. No entitled father with threats about fixing this. Just silence, the kind that feels earned. The legal letter stopped after Ben's response. Amelia's dad must have realized his big-name firm wasn't going to intimidate a contract lawyer with a spine. The $50,000, damages, demand evaporated like it never existed. I imagined the conversation between father and daughter, the way his voice must have cracked when he realized she'd blown up his reputation too. Because Arthur Vance wasn't angry about her choices. He was angry about the embarrassment. The scandal. The fact that the girl he bragged about at golf clubs was now unemployed, infamous, and back under his roof. As for Amelia and Gregory? I didn't have to dig, word traveled fast. Gregory's demotion stuck, stripped of his title, his bonuses, his authority. He went from senior VP to senior analyst. From corner office to cubicle. From boat weekends to divorce court. His wife took him to the cleaners. Sold the boat, the house, even the golden retriever went with her. He's living in a rental now, a corporate ghost haunting spreadsheets. And Amelia? She spent 6 weeks couchsurfing at Zara's before getting kicked out for emotional toxicity. Translation: she cried, drank wine at noon, and expected Zara to bankroll her like I once did. With the luxury car gone, the job gone, and the enabling friend finally done, she had no choice but to crawl back home to her parents' house. Now, the once up-and-coming, marketing prodigy, is an entry-level admin at a small-town insurance branch, the kind that sells flood policies to retirees. The LinkedIn posts about corporate leadership are gone. Her Instagram turned from rooftop brunches to quotes about rising from your mistakes. Me? I'm good. Better than good, actually. The credit hit from the repossession stung, 90 points down overnight. But it's temporary. Ben's helping me dispute it. I'll recover. It's a small price for peace of mind. I even sold that antique desk for $1,800, used the cash to pay Ben and take a solo trip to the coast. 3 days of ocean air and zero drama. I came back lighter. Clearer. And yeah, I met someone new. Her name's Maya. Landscape architect. Smart, grounded, calm. When I told her the whole saga, she laughed so hard she almost cried. A work husband? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Why would anyone want to be married to someone they see 40 hours a week? It's the kind of humor I'd forgotten existed, the kind that doesn't sting. We're taking it slow. No games. No performative networking. Just two people who like quiet dinners and long walks. Sometimes I think back to that night at the restaurant, Amelia laughing over tacos, telling me to step up. She thought she was holding all the cards. But she built her house of lies on corporate policy and arrogance, and all it took was one polite thank you card to bring the whole thing down. I didn't destroy her life. I just stopped protecting her from the consequences of her own choices. And in the end, that's what real closure looks like. Not revenge, not rage, just peace. Because sometimes, the most devastating thing you can say to someone who betrayed you is nothing at all.